Hello, hello, and welcome back
Hello,
to Real Talk.
everybody.
It is Real Talk with Jesse and Sherrod. No numbers because we're not responsible enough for
Yeah,
that.
we're not.
But we're excited to record. We're always excited to record, but today
Yeah.
is extra fun because we're talking that we talk a lot about self-care, which we love and is super important. And so often we're talking about self-care, or every time really, because life can be tough, life can be stressful, and the importance of taking care of yourself through that. But this time we're going to talk about celebrating and remembering that part of self care is also allowing that joy, allowing that happiness, and really letting yourself exist in that when that is what you have the benefit of going through at the time. So we're just going to give quick updates on us and what we're celebrating lately. So,
Okay.
Jesse, you start us off. Tell
Okay.
tell tell us what's up.
Okay. So the most exciting thing that I'm celebrating is Saturday. Me and my wife are going to go to the Chattanooga Zoo, and we have a personal red panda bear encounter. So we'll get to hold them, feed them bamboo, pet them. They say you can't kiss them, but I'm thinking there's a minute left. They might not be paying attention. Just get a little cute kiss. And really, besides that, just about to be 100% fully in Georgia back with my family. So that's exciting. So,
Very exciting.
yeah, so those two things are what I'm celebrating and allowing joy and, gonna let, be stress free on Saturday and just enjoy the moment of getting to pet my favorite animal.
Yeah. So letting go of the moving stress. And then I'm just really excited for you with this panda because this is
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
How did you get signed up for your encounter?
So we searched like legit, we searched like red panda encounters and we saw that they actually have them in Chattanooga Zoo. And we were gonna do it like she wanted to do it on my birthday, which is in June. So they were booked up all the way until like we started looking in February. They were booked up until June, wasn't opening the list until the end of June. And so, like, I emailed the lady personally, and I was like, I've been trying to get on your list. She was like, well, it opens up at like 2 a.m. on some day, and my wife literally stayed up to make sure that we were on there, and we got it. And so, but they do a lot of encounters. Like they do like with sloths, like just different random animals. All in different zoos do different animals, but red panda is like my all-time favorite animal, and hers is an otter. And when we first started dating, one of our first dates was I took her up to I think it was Blairsville or Blue Ridge, Georgia, and we got to do an otter encounter where you went to a cage and there was like five otters, and they got to sit on your lap, you got to feed them. Like it was really cool. And so like she was like, "Well, here's repay," So like you said, we've been really stressed with moving and stuff. So that's, going to be nice to just, go up there for the day and spend time with each other. And then, of course, the red panda is all I really care about. But, walk the zoo, I guess, and see the other animals until it's time to go.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't really care about the other animals, but, just check them out. But yeah, that's about it. What about you?
So one, I just need to say I'm really excited about you with the panda because okay, it's not red pandas, but the Nanny Cam YouTube page for the pandas at the zoo in China
Oh,
is one of
yeah.
my like favorite self-care things to do. I go watch that all the time. So I
Yeah.
okay, but my news, what we're celebrating. Well, it's an update on something I've talked about a few times on the podcast, as it were, and I am pregnant.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I mean, Jessie knows already, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, not obviously, but she does. And thank you, Jessie, because Jessie has been an amazing support. And I just thank you to everybody who is listening and everybody who's ever thought about us and prayed for us. Jessie, I know you prayed for us, and I thank you so much for that. And yeah, I'm well into the second trimester now, and we are having a little boy. So my husband and I, Lewis, hello, Lewis. He's not listening. He doesn't listen. He's going to listen to this. He's going to come back and bite me in the butt. But yeah, we are just, I mean, of course, just over the moon with that. This is going to be our first baby. And, as anybody who's listened in or knows me knows, we went through a fertility struggle, and it was a lot. It was a lot to cope with and a lot to deal with. And then being newly pregnant is so hard, especially like at my age. I'm 38, so you're kind of like, I really want to celebrate, but am I allowed to yet? Do I still
Right.
stay cautious? And then everything thus far, knock on wood, has been really healthy, really easy, going exactly as it should. So we're just so excited. We were really one of those couples that they talk about where as soon as we kind of stopped trying, then we got pregnant. So yeah, it was wild. We were not expecting it at all. I mean, truly, the going through the fertility treatments, even though I had wonderful doctors and wonderful teams, and wonderful support. I mean, it was just so incredibly stressful. And then, for anybody who's experienced that or supported anybody when they've been, working with fertility doctors and things, it's just like it's all you can think about. It's all consumed,
Yeah.
all everything. And when you've gone through, for Lewis and I, we were doing IUI procedures and we went through a few different rounds. And when it doesn't work, you just start to also kind of like mentally juggle with, okay, like, well, maybe we can't get pregnant, and what does that mean, and trying to juggle that stress. And it's just, I mean, it just weighs into everything.
Yeah.
I was talking to my mom earlier today, and she was even talking about when I, before I got pregnant, and she was like, you just had the stress like emanating off of you, and now that's gone. And yeah, and I guess February, I had made the decision that I wanted to pause on fertility treatments. And I was calling it a pause because I was like, we can get back into it. But I was like, I just am too stressed with doing this.
Right.
It's just too much. I don't want to conceive this way. I don't want to be under this much stress. I don't think I can conceive when I have this high cortisol levels. Literally, my cortisol levels when I was testing all my hormones and everything tested off of the chart. The number was not on the chart because it was so high. And like my blood pressure was high. That's back down to normal, like all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
And so yeah, we took a pause. I was like, I mean, we'll still try the old fashioned way, if you know what I mean. But just no, no doctors, no appointments, no meds, no procedures. Just I need a few months of like not doing that. And then I just
Yeah.
kind of wasn't really thinking about it. But I still had my app, my fertility app on my phone. And one morning, like Lewis had gone to work already. I had like started working from home. I was like walking the dog, and my app binged, and it was like, hey, you might need to take a pregnancy test. And I was like, well, let me go take one. I'm sure it's going to be negative just to like get it off of my mind. And so I took the test, and it like immediately started turning positive.
Wow.
And I was like, what the heck? And so I like ran out of the room and was like, let me give it the rest of the 2 minutes or whatever. Don't get ahead of yourself. And I was just like pacing around my apartment. And then I went back in, and it's like hardcore positive. Um, and then I just like started like sobbing. I was like, I don't even know what it's for. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what I feel, like everything. And then nobody answered their phone. I like called Lewis to tell him, and he didn't answer. And I texted him, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine. Like I'm safe, but I need you to call me as soon as you can. And then I had like I wanted to call my mom, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to like I want to take off work, like I want to get Lewis to come home, but like I can't tell my mom or I can't tell my boss like before I tell my husband. And then I was like, I have a report due today. And so I like ran to my laptop and like hurried up and finished a report so I would be able to take the rest of the day off. And which Lavonder would have done it for me. I don't know where my thought process
Yeah.
was with that. But so then Lewis finally called me back, and I mean, finally, it was probably all of 7 minutes, but he called me back, and I told him, I was like, I just took a pregnancy test and it's positive. And he just goes, are you kidding? I was like, no, I'm not joking. And he's like, wait, you're serious? And I'm like, yes, I'm serious. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, I want to be home. I want to give you a hug. And I was like, yeah, go tell your boss, like, come home. Um, so then I tried to call my mom, and she didn't answer. And I'm like, okay. So I sent her the same text. So then I'm like, okay, let me take the rest of the day off. So I called Lavandra, our CEO, And she didn't answer. And she texted me and was like, I'm in a meeting. Like, can I call you back in an hour? And I was like, no, like, I just, because Lavondra, was knew all about our fertility struggles and things like that. She's an amazingly supportive boss. And I texted her and I was like, no, I just took a positive pregnancy test. Like, can I take the day off? And she's like, yes, oh my gosh, like, I'm so excited for you. And so then I was like, okay, I need to tell Erin, Erin Sims, who's been on the pod before, because, we work together. And, so tell her when I'm taking the day off and just tell her the news. So I called her and she didn't answer. I'm like, what is this? So I texted Erin the same thing. And then she texted me back again, so excited, so congratulatory. It was so sweet. So then I tried to call my best friend Jessica and she didn't answer. So then I tried to call my other best friend Kara and she didn't answer. And I'm like, where is everyone today? So somewhere in the mix of that, my mom called me back and I told her and she like burst into tears. She's so excited to be a Mimi. And so then yeah, she was like, oh my gosh, like your dad just got home from work because my dad is semi-retired, so he gets home around 10:30ish. And she's like, can let me go tell him. And I was like, no, 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 like let me tell him, like put me on speakerphone. So got to tell my dad, and he was all choked up. And so they were like, can we come over? Like, is Lewis coming home? And I was like, yeah, just give me like an hour so we can have like a minute by ourselves, and then y'all come over. Um, so we so Lewis came home and we like got to celebrate and we're still kind of in shock. And then my parents came over with non-alcoholic champagne and we had a toast. And then my friend Jessica texted me back and was like, "Hey, like I'm on a field trip with her daughter, my goddaughter." And she's like, "But what's up?" And I just told her over text message and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And she's like, "Can I tell her?" Like my little goddaughter. I was like, "Yeah, tell her." So she told her when they got in the car and they sent me a little video. It was really sweet.
Aw.
And then Kara called me back and she was so excited. And yeah, so it's like the funnest thing to be able to tell people. So thank y'all for letting me announce it on the podcast. Everybody is just so happy for you. And it's just like, when you have like months of like telling people you're not pregnant or telling people what
Yeah.
you're doing with like fertility testing and especially when we would go through like an IUI procedure, like, I mean, I'm just like a really extroverted person. So people would know, like my friends and my family and stuff. And then it was like, you get so used to getting the negative pregnancy test. And for me, it's like it was the oddest feeling when I would get a negative pregnancy test, even before we started fertility treatments. Like I was something that I obviously like worked with my counselor about a lot. Shout out to Bonnie as always. And it's like you feel a sense of like loss, even though you
Yeah.
haven't actually lost anything. Like, but it's like a grief and it's really weird to go through. And Lewis was so great through everything. I mean, I know it was a stress for him too, and it was loss and grief for him too, but I think he had a lot of respect for that. Like it was my body going through everything
Yeah.
and the hormones and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really appreciative of him for that and just makes me really appreciative of what kind of dad he's going to be. And he's been super great during this pregnancy. Like literally will like leave the house and go to the store when I'm like, I need this. So, like, ice cream or whatever, like that's happened. We had to go on a search for a McFlurry. That was interesting. I hadn't had a McFlurry in like 20 years, and I tell everyone if you haven't had one in a while, go get one. That was one of the greatest things I've ever had. But yeah, it's just been amazing, and it's just really exciting to like wake up every morning and be like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. And Mikey's
Yeah.
excited, our puppy. He like sleeps like curled around my stomach a lot of the time now. It's really cute. And
Oh, that is cute.
so yeah, so that's lots of good news, lots of celebration at the Martin household.
That
Um,
is the best news because you have, we've been doing this podcast for a little over a year, and you've been honest from the get go, about going through everything, your journey and everything, and it's something that I was praying for you from the get go. I know other people knew about it, was praying, and I mean, you could tell you were stressed. When you would even talk about it on the podcast. I mean, you could tell that it was really bothering you. And it's hard to see somebody, that you work with, that you care. We didn't know each other very well, but you start to care about that person and stuff, and just knowing their stress. I can't imagine going through that and seeing over and over the constant negative, results. And I remember, like, I was like, it's gonna happen for you. It's just, unfortunately, we just don't know the time. And so it's
Yeah.
just a beautiful blessing. It's really, I mean, I remember when you told me, I was like, wow, like that's amazing, because like you really, did everything that you could. Like you literally was trying to eat better. Like I remember you telling me like you were so stressed, like trying to like do this on this time, and you had to do this on this time, and just watching you like be drained all the time. And I remember like even when you would tell about your journey on the podcast, you could tell like it was just draining you. So it's just such a blessing that you guys were able to do it on your own, one, and then two, like for you not to have to go through that anymore, and no more negative pregnancy tests. Your pregnancy's going great. Because I know when you told me you didn't want to tell nobody for a while because you wanted to make sure you were in the clear, which is understandable. And
Yeah.
so it's like amazing that everything's just like kind of been smooth sailing. It's like what you deserve, kind of like after everything you've been through. So it's such a blessing. I'm excited for you and Lewis. Like I cannot wait for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jesse. And I will say, like, when you would say things like, and anybody else who would too, for me, this is my experience, when you would say something like, it's gonna happen, like I found that so helpful. Like I just really did, because sometimes you start to like, or it's almost like protection for your own emotions. You kind of
Yeah,
like stop believing fully that it will
yeah,
happen. So I guess that you're not just like constantly let down. But then when you would get those moments of like people in earnest being like, this is going to happen for you, it just like really brightens you up. At least for me, it did.
yeah.
It would mean a lot to me.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's something that, I'm glad you've been open and honest about it, because there's a lot of women who, struggle with getting pregnant, and with you just kind of telling about your experience and stuff. I think it's, one, it's hopeful, for those who still struggle, like I said, you never know when it's going to happen. But for you to be so honest and open with your journey, with our listeners and with your coworkers and stuff, it's really, inspiring, because I think it's going to help others as well that do listen to our podcast that might be going through the same thing. So maybe it brings other people hope. But, I always look at things as, try to look at it as a positive, so I think you being so open has really been helpful for people who have listened and maybe going through the exact same thing.
Thank you, Jesse. And I think, it makes me think back like before I was trying to get pregnant, and like anybody I've known who's like gone through fertility struggles or miscarriages or anything like that. And of course, I would feel awful, but it's like you can't get, I think, until you go through it, like
Yeah.
just how and our journey was not even as extreme as many others. We never had to go all the way to IVF or anything like that. But it's just when you do go through it, like it's like I had no idea the depth of how it affects you. I mean, I was watching one of my reality shows the other day, and somebody was talking about going through a fertility struggle, and they were thankfully pregnant now. And it just made me start crying, just like remembering like what it was like being in that space. And I'm just so grateful and happy to be pregnant now. And I'm really glad that I think I've found myself like just really like allowing myself to just be excited, be happy, celebrate. Um,
Yeah.
be proud of the strength we had going through it, and just
Yeah.
have a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, and we're talking about self-care, and you were so stressed, but you did amazing. You mentioned strength, but you did amazing. You really you showed up for yourself, even though, there's probably times you didn't want to. I mean, I can only imagine, the disappointments and stuff that you and Lewis had to go through, but you've always, been there, with your self-care, and you've been great at work. You just show a lot of strength, and it takes a really strong person to really go through things like that and get through them, and still know like, oh, I need to, make sure I'm taking care of myself still. And because things like that aren't easy to go through and have disappointments, So just your strength is amazing to me. And, it's a blessing that you and Lewis definitely deserve. And I'm happy, and I'm really excited for you guys. And I'm glad that your pregnancy so far has been amazing. And I'm glad you had a blizzard. I'm sure that was exciting.
It was
So,
a McFlurry, not a
yeah.
blizzard. I
Oh,
have
a
very strong
McFlurry. I'm
opinions
sorry,
about
my
these
bad. Okay, Dairy Queen, I love you more though. Dairy Queen, I'll never let you down. Dairy Queen, McDonald's has nothing on you. But
Try
it's
not to be
exciting.
upset with
Everything about it
me.
is exciting. So I'm just really happy for you guys. Like I said, I just me knowing your journey. Like even if I didn't know you personally, just hearing your journey and then hearing the great news, I would feel inspired. So, I think I want to say thank you for being so open and sharing.
Oh, thank you, Jesse. I appreciate the opportunity to share. I really appreciate what a big support you've been, and I'm just really excited and so happy I can share our celebration now.
I know, and everybody, all of our listeners will get to know. That's exciting.
Yeah. Well, dear listeners and viewers, wherever you are consuming our real talk, we thank you for listening to our good news. Red pandas and babies. Thank you.
Yes, two best
That
things in
sounds
the
like
world.
that's a band name, we call it.
Yeah,
But
can't steal
yeah,
our
well,
idea.
do not. That's copyrighted, trademarked, Red Pandas and Babies. It's a jazz band. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Okay, well, we thank y'all so much. And um, please come back to us soon for some more real talk. We've got some exciting topics coming up. We will soon be having our colleague, Summer Lindsay, on to talk about AI, some real talk about artificial intelligence. So we're excited to be able to share that with y'all when the episode's ready and some other great topics. So thank y'all
Yep.
so much for spending some time with us and letting us have some real talk. That's what I was forgetting. You ready for our sign off, Jesse?
Let's do it.
All right, this has been Real Talk with Jesse and Sherrod. Right?
No
Yeah,
fluff.
no
There's
filters,
just no
no fluff,
fluff. Just real
just
talk.
real talk. Thank y'all.
Thank you guys.